Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Visabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 15, the instructions for civilized human beings. Text 65. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, again, let me see from my notes here. 7, 15, 65. Atmajaya sutadinang anye sarvadehinang yatsvarta kamayor aikyam drabhyadvaitam tad uchate. Atmajaya sutadinang anye sarvadehinang yatsvarta kamayor aikyam drabhyadvaitam tad uchate. Word for word meaning: Atma, of oneself; Jaya, wife; Shuta Adinam, and children; Anyesam, of one's relatives, etc. Sarva Dehinam, of all other living entities; Yat, whatever; Swa-artha Kamayo, of one's ultimate goal and benefit; Aikyam, oneness; Dravya Advaitam, oneness of interest; Tat Uchate, it is called. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When the ultimate goal and interest of one's self, one's wife, one's children, one's relatives, and all other embodied living beings is one, this is called Davriya Advaita. Dravya Advaita, or oneness of interest. Purport: the actual interest of all living entities, indeed the goal of life, is to return home back to Godhead. This is the interest of one's self, one's wife, one's children, one's disciples, and one's friends, relatives, countrymen, and all humanity. The Krishna consciousness movement can give directions for management by which everyone can partake in Krishna conscious activities and reach the goal, which is known as Swarta Gatim. This objective of everyone's interest is Vishnu, but because people do not know this, Natividu Swarta Gatim hi Vishnu, from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, Text 31, they are making various plans by which to fulfill so many concocted interests in life. The Krishna consciousness movement is trying to bring everyone to the highest interest. The process may be differently named, but if the aim is one, People should follow it to achieve the ultimate goal in life. Unfortunately, people are thinking of different interests, and blind leaders are misleading them. Everyone is trying to reach the goal of complete happiness materially because people do not know what complete happiness is. They are materially diverted toward different interests. Atmajaya, Atmajaya Sutatinam, Anyesang Sarva Tehinam, Yat Swarta Kamayor Aikyam, Davyadvaitang Tad Uchate. Is a very important verse from the Shrimad Bhagavatam explaining what is the real self interest of the living entity. The living entity has been traveling since time immemorial. So many species of life in different universes, not just within this universe, but also in different universes, from different species of life, birth after birth. And somehow or other, the desires to enjoy or to be happy is always there. Prabhupada says this is the desire of the living entity to be happy, but somehow their interest or desires has been diverted into material pursuit. Mm. Especially the modern society, they present um, countless pursuits for wealth, relationships, power, knowledge, and even religious aspirations. When I say religious aspirations, even the pursuit to become one with the Brahman effulgence of the Supreme Lord. So each is promising uh, fulfillment. Each is promising how to be fully satisfied. Is fulfilling, um, but this immense material progress, still humanity becomes unsatisfied, and mostly they are restless. They cannot be focused. So this happiness that the living entity is searching for is misplaced, as Prabhupada pointed out in the purport and quoted from the seventh canto. Uh, Natividu Swartagatim hi Vishnu. They do not know that the main purpose of human form of life is to know Vishnu, to understand Vishnu, to realize that the goal of life is to go back home, back to Godhead, to attain Krishna Prema. So Srila Prabhupada repeatedly emphasized that the living entity's ultimate happiness is in serving Krishna. Mm, that is where we will find ultimate happiness in life. And this is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Sabay pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adokshaji ahaituki apatihata yayatma shupashidati, which means first canto, chapter 2, text number 6. The supreme occupation or dharma for all humanity is that by which man can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. So the true self means the living entity, every living entity. That is, the true self interest is bhakti yoga. This is Jaiva Dharma. This is the eternal service of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So our identity must be understood first and foremost that we are not this body, we're spirit souls. And this is the first teachings in the Bhagavad Gita. Hmm. Dehinosmin yata dehe komaram yovanam jara tata dihantara prapti dhiras tatra namuyate. And Prabhupada clearly emphasized this in practically 90% of his letters. You're not this body, you're spirit souls. Um, and this is our illusion to think that we are this body. Therefore, we cannot be fully satisfied if we focus on this impermanent material element that we are embodied. We say my body because it is temporary. Right now, we're in this human form of life, but we're not this body. Next life, as Prabhupada said, can you guarantee that you're going to be in human form of life again next life? There is no guarantee. So a self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. It's like we change our cloth uh, every day, or our bodies keep on changing. According to medical science, we change the complete cells of our body every 12 years, from birth to 12 years old and 24, 36, 48, 60. We always keep on changing. So the soul similarly passes to another body. But Prabhupada says to know that one is not this body as a spirit soul is not enough. It's not enough. You have to understand also the function of the soul. What is the duty of the soul? The duty of the soul is to serve the Supreme Lord. Even those who wish to merge into the Brahman effulgence, Sayuja Mukti, they also understood that they're not this body. How can you merge to the this Brahman effulgence, spirit itself, if you're not spirit soul? Yet first you have to understand. But that is not for the devotees. That is not our interest. Our interest is to be with Krishna eternally, to be with Him, to serve with Him, along with His eternal associates in the spiritual world. So, this is the natural position of every living entities in relation to Krishna. As Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Jivere Swarup Hoy Krishnera Nityadas. This is our constitutional position, nature, to be the eternal servant of Krishna. And so all of us, this is our original state. But somehow we have forgotten. Prabhupada says, we have forgotten our relationship with Krishna. Just like it became covered up. By what? By the material modes of nature, having come in contact with the material energy. These different modes of nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance, covered up. So when the soul forgets Krishna and tries to enjoy separately, suffering begins. As soon as we plan to materially be happy, either with our family, friends, loved ones, relatives, mm, then misery starts. Hmm. Misery starts. This is illusion. Therefore, the material world offers many attractive engagements for all of us. Um, where are they? Or what are they? It says through career, wealth, and possessions, relationships, family, and prestige, and sensory pleasures and entertainment. But ultimately, because all of these are temporary, they are unsatisfying. Cannot fully satisfy the living entity because they're all material. They are impermanent. They come and go. Hmm. Therefore, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, text 22, Yehi samsparsaja boga dukha yunaya evate adi antavanta konteya nateshu ramate buddha. Which means an intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. Yes, we want to enjoy the sense objects with our senses. And therefore, that's why the soul cannot be fully satisfied. Hmm. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise do not delight in them. So, how this materialistic pursuit leads to unhappiness or sufferings? Three of them. Anxiety, number one, where fear of losing wealth, status, and relationships. Mm. That's why even the most wealthiest person um, in this world is always full of bodyguards. Family always been guarded, afraid that someone may attack them anytime. The wealth will be fully guarded. It will be put into a big safe. It is impenetrable. It cannot be able to take it out. What to say of status? Everyone is in anxiety of one's status, one's position. No one will take it away from them. They're also frustrated because temporary pleasures never fully satisfy the heart. Always frustrated. It's like greed is always there. Prabhupada says a greedy person, you can give the entire universe, still is be greedy, is not satisfied. Uh, and therefore, as long as we have unfulfilled desires or interest, uh, we will take birth again and again and again. And there are as many 8,400,000 species of life. There are also 8,400,000 different desires one can have. And at the time of death, whatever we desire, that will be fulfilled. Prabhupada says, even if you desire for one gulab jamun, you have to come back for that gulab jamun next life. Therefore, our desire is only to attain lotus feet and take shelter of Lord Krishna. Um, so many examples from the scriptures um, given to illustrate that these different personalities in the initial stage they have different desires, but it's been transformed. Just like Dhruva Maharaj, he has material desire. He wants to have a kingdom better than his father or his grandfather, Lord Brahma. Dhruva Maharaj is very famous. Whenever Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will give a discourse, he will mainly speaks on two topics, hmm, two examples, two great personalities in the Srimad Bhagavatam. One of them is Dhruva Maharaj, and the other one is Prahlad Maharaj. Because of their example so great, we should follow in their footsteps. So Dhruva Maharaj has this desire because he was forbidden to sit on the lap of his father, King Uttanapad, by his stepmother, Suruchi, and therefore he wants to revenge on this. He wants to get back. And therefore, his mother, Suniti, told him that if you want to solve your problem, then you can go to the forest. I've heard in the forest you can have darshan of Lord Vishnu, and he'll be able to find a solution for your problem. So just imagine a 5 year old boy. Ah, how can he survive in the forest full of wild animals? Very dangerous. But nevertheless, as a Satriya, he was very, very determined. Mm. So he has intense desire, and that Narad Muni tested him. Narad Muni told him, "Oh, what is your purpose? Why you're here? Just a young boy." Can you imagine a 5 year old boy? I'm sure many of you who are grihastas probably have a child who's been in that age, 5 years old. It's completely, uh, he needs a lot of help. But Dhruva Maharaj, he was determined to attain that. And Narad Muni tested him, and he passed the test, Dhruva Maharaj. So he gave him the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So he went to the forest and he performed severe austerities. Eventually, Lord Vishnu became satisfied and pleased with his tapasya, penance, sacrifice, austerity, that he was asked for a boon. But then Dhruva Maharaj says, "No, I don't want anything else. Having darshan of you," uh, from the fourth canto, chapter 9, text 10, he says, Stana vilasi tapasi stitohang twang praptavang deva munindra guyam kachang bichinbang apdivyaratnang swaming kitartosmi varang nayache. My dear Lord, I was searching for a piece of broken glass, but instead I have found a most valuable jewel. Therefore, I am fully satisfied and do not wish to ask any benediction from you. So, from here, we can learn from the life of Dhruva Maharaj that material desires, no matter how intense, will ultimately be superseded by the higher taste of bhakti. Bhakti supersedes everything. That even bhakti says is greater than Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is the greatest, but Lord Krishna becomes subjugated. He would rather be treated like in a subordinate way by his devotees. It's not that the devotees became superior than him, but because of the love of the devotees. So he wants to fulfill the desire of his devotees. And he wants to please his devotees. Bhaktavatsala. Yes, by engaging in devotional service, we realize that our real interest is to serve Krishna. So this is the real interest. We may have family, friends, relatives, and so on, as mentioned in the verse, but our interest should be that Krishna be in the center, in the forefront, a priority. So in this way, everyone who's with us or with connection with us, they also become fully satisfied. And if they cannot be satisfied, what can we do? They're going to learn the hard way, and ultimately later on, they will also surrender to Lord Krishna. Hmm. Our real interest is to serve Krishna, not to acquire temporary positions or possessions. And how we can apply this in our daily life. Uh, Instead of focusing on career, wealth, or status as life's ultimate goal, we should see them as secondary and temporary. That's all right. We can aspire to have a good position also career wise, or we can have aspire to have a lot of wealth, but we have to use them for Krishna's service. Otherwise, that will bind us. It'll create more karma that will be the result of our more and more sufferings in this material world. So we better be careful, though. Okay, don't be enamored by this flickering happiness, uh, false, false pleasures. I met many devotees all over the world when I travel, and they become caught up with this. They spend more time in working. They didn't have time practically with their family members, uh, because they thinking, oh, this is for the future of my family. Whatever I'm doing is for the pleasure, ultimately, of my family. But no, I know somebody, they've been working for so many years in Dubai or Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi can make a lot of money. He's been there for like almost 40 years. And I asked him, why you're still here? You should have been retired long time ago. Oh, I have to please my brother. I have to please my, my family. He's suffering so much, but he cannot do anything about it. It's like in a prison. It's like in a jail. Cannot get out of it. When is he gonna get out of it? There's no end to that. Luckily, he has Krishna, but at the same time, he doesn't have so much time because he's getting old. Uh, we should be always engaged in chanting the holy names and serve Lord Krishna. This will bring us greater satisfaction than material accomplishments. Another example, Gajendra. These are the examples in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Is a king. He's a king of the elephants now. Oh, he was king also before. Uh, was a very powerful elephant. And he's enjoying in the heavenly planets, uh, heavenly gardens. Uh, but one day he was caught by a crocodile while bathing in a lake surrounded uh, by many she elephants. So despite his immense strength, he struggled for thousands of years but could not escape because he was in a wrong environment. He may be the king of the forest, not the lion. The king of the forest actually is the elephant because of the strength and huge body. They became exhausted being in the wrong environment, and no more material power to save him. But then eventually Gajendra surrendered completely. And he remembered, because before he was a king and he was worshiping Lord Vishnu as well. This is the benediction that one derives by performing bhakti, worshiping the Lord, serving devotees, that somehow in the future lives, if they're not able to make it, then they'll be able to remember. So he remembered Lord Vishnu and says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 3, Text 8 and 10, Nanyang tod asya saranang brahmato nupasye, ye yang nijanu babata prabhavanti pumsa, dukani amusya sukha, yati agavanti janma, stanani rupaguna karma vibhakta kale. I have no one else to turn to but you. Gajendra Stuti, that means his prayers. O Lord, all living beings are wandering in the cycle of birth and death. Due to your will only, you can rescue them. So, hearing Gajendra's sincere prayers, Lord Vishnu personally appeared saved him from the crocodile, and granted him spiritual liberation. With the chakra, Lord Vishnu, it was used to cut the head of the crocodile. So, what we learn from Gajendra's life, no material enjoyment can fully satisfy us, no matter how luxurious. Mm. Even Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, this is the enemy also uh, of everyone uh, to aspire for luxurious things. So there's a tendency, especially the grihastas, because they have this license for sense enjoyment. Um, it will only ultimately leads to one's suffering. Real self-interest is not in bodily strength or power, but in seeking refuge in Krishna. That is a real self-interest. That is the only self-interest of the living entity. Sincere surrender attracts the immediate mercy of the Lord. So when faced with difficulties, instead of relying on material solutions alone, we should immediately take shelter of Krishna through prayers, kirtan, and devotional service. So here, the immediate solution to this, if we're faced with many difficulties. I'm sure all of us face that. No one is exempted. Difficulties, reversals, unwanted expectations. We're expecting something more favorable to us, but then unfavorable things happen to us. So we don't have any other recourse except immediately take shelter of Krishna. The name of Krishna is more powerful than any effort of our own. Ah, most powerful. Another example is Vasudev Datta in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He's the pinnacle of compassion. He asked Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to transfer all the sins of all the living entities within this universe unto him, so they can be freed and they'll attain liberation. He doesn't mind going to hell by having all the sins of the living entities be transferred unto him. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, actually, your heart is greater than mine. You have such an exalted and desire. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, just by you simply desiring to have all the living entities be liberated, actually, I have already delivered all the living entities. So, a real self interest is not selfish pleasure or even personal salvation. Though this is very high, this is very, very exalted. Prabhupada says to save the whole world is great, great. But greater than that is first to save yourself. After one's being saved by following the process of sadhana bhakti, and eventually the highest essence of bhakti is compassion, to also help others to go back home, back to Godhead. So for those devotees who are on that level, they will go out of the way to help others become inspired to go back to the original abode, back home, back to Godhead. That is real self-interest. He does not think of his own liberation, but prays for the well-being of others. Now, this is very, very rare. Great personalities are like this, like Srila Prabhupada. Haridas Thakur also, Prahlad Maharaj as well, Vasudev Dutt, or even Jesus Christ, for that matter. So instead of seeking for one's personal gain, We should help others come to Krishna consciousness. So this is the goal of the Krishna consciousness movement. As Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport, that this is the movement that ultimately, as Prabhupada says, there'll be a time in the history of the world that the Krishna consciousness movement will be the one who will save humanity from being barbarians. Barbarians, barbarians means uncivilized. We don't live in a civilized society nowadays. This is backwards because they don't teach the science of the soul. They don't teach the goal of life. They teach how you become materially prosperous, how to live longer, but now there are more diseases than ever. Hmm? They cannot control war. They cannot control famine. They cannot control natural calamities. This is the sign of the ages. The only way how we can go against the current of Kali Yuga is to be engaged in Sankirtan. This is the greatest boon that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to us. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in the mood of a devotee, specifically that of Srimati Radharani. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought with him Vrindavan. In every Kali Yuga, the means of deliverance is Sankirtan, Yuga Dharma, Sankirtan. But our Kali Yuga is very special because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he comes only in once in one day of Lord Brahma. That means 1,000 Kali Yugas. And in this 1,000 Kali Yugas, Divya Yugas, 999 Kali Yugas, the expansion of Lord Vishnu would come. And only Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the one who's giving Braja Prem. The other 999, Vaikuntha Prem. So we have this very, very wonderful opportunity and privilege if we follow the instructions coming from the disciplic succession, Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master, being engaged in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission by preaching, distributing books, and sharing Krishna's glories to be able to fulfill our true purpose. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Rupa Goswami in this way also, that our real self-interest is to cultivate the creeper of bhakti through the process of devotional service. That verse, Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagya Banjib, Guru Krishna Pasati Bhai, Bhakti Lata Beach. So we have this Bhakti Lata within our heart. It's been implanted. It's already there, but then it just have to be like it's like a spark that needs to be fanned. And our spiritual master opened our eyes with the torch of knowledge. With this knowledge, we'll be able to cut our material attachments. We'll be able to help us clearly see who we are, what is the purpose of human form of life, who is Krishna, what is my relationship with him. And the plant has to be watered by hearing and chanting. And one must be very careful as well. It's like here, I'm outside, so we have a lot of plants here. I'll show you. This is it. I'm outside. That's why I'm showing it to you. There's so many plants here, but we have to be also like a perfect gardener, a good gardener. Must be not let the unwanted weeds to grow near the plant, the creeper. so that the creeper will be healthy and ultimately uh, it'll penetrate the universe and take shelter unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world. So, yes, we should be careful that these material desires that will grow as long as we have this body, material desires will always be there. We're reading this morning during the announcement that a devotee is like a tortoise. The tortoise can withdraw different limbs. Ah, yeah, tortoise knew that he is in danger. So similarly, a devotee should know how to withdraw the senses from the propensity to enjoy the sense objects. And ultimately, this is what Prabhupada says. Letter to Himavati Dasi, 23rd of March, 1968. Ultimately, we have to learn how to say no to Maya. Everyone, not just the sannyasis or the brahmacharis, the grihastas as well. You have to learn how to say no to Maya to reach that goal, to attain that real self-interest, to go back home, back to Godhead. Otherwise, it'll prolong our stay in this material world, and therefore, um, we'll not be able to become fully satisfied at Atmara. So the real goal of life is to not to chase about material fortunes. We should always seeking the association of devotees and hear from them, hear from the spiritual authorities, to receive knowledge. This is the life's greatest fortune. So we should protect this treasure by avoiding material distractions. So I'm very thankful that you invited me uh, to this discussion today. That I hope I'm able to give you some insights of the real self interest, which is devotional service. Real self interest of everyone is eternal service to Krishna. Material life is temporary and full of suffering. Pure devotion is the highest goal of life. Applying bhakti in our daily life transforms ordinary activities into spiritual progress. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? Are you still there or I'm somewhere? Both. There is a hand here. Subramanian, are you still there or I'm just talking here? You're not listening. Sukakar, looks like you're on top of the world. Yes, you are. You're on the top. Any question? That's the highest, yeah. Shave yourself first. Shave. Okay. Yes. Yeah. yes, yes, yes. Okay. So, You're not the only one. Yeah. Yeah. Well, as we mentioned also, that we may have so many challenges in life, we may have so many failures, expecting something which is not favorable happening to us. We should see this as test of Lord Krishna. This is like challenge. The more you advance in Krishna consciousness, the more challenges you will have that Maya is offering to you. This is to make you sure that you will have no other recourse except to, again, take shelter of Lord Krishna. Taking shelter of Lord Krishna means taking shelter of his pure representative, following their instructions. If somehow this is happening, this is normal. Look at the challenges that the Pandavas had. Our challenges compared to the Pandavas is like, like a molecule, very small compared to their sufferings and reversals in life. So we should be strong. You have to have a strong sadhana. What time you get up in the morning? Great. So what do? You do your sadhana or good. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. The dogs may bark, but the caravan goes on. You know that? So many maybe finding faults or criticizing. You don't worry. You don't. You pray for them. Yeah, yeah. To pray, to go back home, back to God. That is our aspiration. That's what we do. Yeah, sure. Yeah, to get out of this material world immediately. That is our goal. That is our goal. But others, they will pray, "Oh, I want to serve many, many more years." Both are correct. Both are correct. Yeah, yeah. Both are correct. It depends on your mood. But we will go back to Godhead when Krishna is most pleased. Yeah, it is not up to us. It's up to Krishna. We'll do our part. This says we should do our best and let Krishna do the rest. Sir, you are doing it already every day. Just be patient. When your time is up, you'll go back home, back to Godhead. Sir, do what you have to do. Krishna only